So by now, you know what your attachment style is, you know what your core beliefs are, you know what your patterns are. Let's start moving into secure. Hi, I'm Amy and welcome to my channel. This channel is all about merging spirituality and psychology so you can manifest your desired relationships. And all through this week, in my two previous videos, we've discussed how to know what attachment style you are, what core wounds are contained in that attachment style, and what your behavior patterns are in conjunction with that attachment style that is actually reaffirming your core beliefs that at the moment you don't want. At the moment you're seeing these beliefs out in your external world, within your relationships, you're playing out the same particular patterns, the same familiar patterns that have kept you safe for years, maybe even decades. So what do you do to move in to the secure version of yourself so that actually starts getting reflected back to you? The first thing we want to do for these core beliefs that you've uncovered is work on reprogramming those beliefs. And I have several videos on how to reprogram a belief, but my favorite technique to do this is actually imagining myself without that belief. So this is going to be going more into Byron Katie's The Work. And these techniques are something I truly, really love. I can actually start to imagine what my life would be like without that belief. So if you're not familiar with the work, basically what you are doing is you are trying to find what your inner truth is. So you have a belief, let's say that you have a belief that I will be abandoned. So sit with that belief of I will be abandoned and ask yourself, is this true? And it does not matter what the answer is, yes or no, because the idea is finding out what your inner truth is. And say if you say, yes, I believe that that's true, I believe that I'll be abandoned. Ask yourself again, are you sure that that's true? And really explore that, because that second question is enough to start you actually questioning that belief and poking holes in it, because you can't possibly know whether you'll be abandoned or not. You can't see into the future, so you can't possibly know that that belief is true. But let's say, for instance, it's a yes, I'm absolutely certain that's true, then that's fine, go with that. And then I want you to see how this belief is playing out in your life. What scenarios happen that make you believe that? What feelings do you have that support that belief system? What memories come up? What patterns do you have that support that belief? So if you believe that you'll be abandoned, that might mean that you avoid relationships completely. So it's about identifying your thoughts, your beliefs, and your behaviors that support that belief. And then Byron asks you to imagine what it would be like without that belief. So what happens with that is that you start to really picture what your life would look like without that belief. And you can actually start connecting with that and feeling that. So you're actually shifting the old belief and moving into the new belief. And I really, really love this technique, and it's been super, super helpful for me, because I really struggled to see my life without these beliefs that I'd held for such a long time. But there are countless ways that you can reprogram your subconscious mind. So there isn't really any reason to be affirming over something at all. There isn't any reason for you to say a million times a day that I will not be abandoned. We don't want to go into that. What we want to do is honor our truth right now so that we can start to see how untrue it is, and then start to break it down and remove it. And the next thing we're going to do is notice the patterns that come along with that belief. Like I say, I will be abandoned might make you avoid getting into a committed relationship. What could you do differently without that belief? How would you behave differently without that belief? Well, I would be okay getting into a committed relationship within reason. I would perhaps give my partner the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to stop checking social media. I'm going to stop testing my partner. I'm going to do all of these things that are supporting that belief that I will be abandoned. And when you can start breaking those behavior patterns that are supporting that belief, the belief will diminish because you're not acting from it anymore. And by breaking those patterns, you are going to automatically move more towards secure, because you're not supporting the old belief system anymore. You're not accidentally affirming your old belief system anymore. So let's use another example. Say you have a belief that you're defective. You're going to sit with that belief and ask yourself if that's true. Yes or no. Doesn't matter which. But what does your life look like with that belief? How does it hold you back? How does it stop you being in a fulfilling relationship? How do you feel when you think that belief? Do you feel shame? Do you feel unworthy? Do you feel like you don't deserve a relationship? And then go into who would you be and what would your life be like without that belief? Will I perhaps be able to be a bit more vulnerable with my partner because I haven't got anything to be ashamed of anymore? I might feel safe to discuss my emotions with my partner. So what you are doing is you are creating new neural pathways to support the belief that you want. So becoming securely attached is more a removal of the old attachment style. Rather than trying to build a new one from the ground up, you're just removing your old attachment style, because secure attachment is who you are. Secure attachment is already there. It's just overcrowded with the undesirable attachment style. So once you can identify the patterns that are going along with your unwanted attachment style and the beliefs that you have and the feelings that you have, so you can process them properly and start really breaking these patterns, security is inevitably going to follow. But there are things that you can do to support your new desired state. And what I personally like to do is ask myself throughout the day, who would I be? What would I be doing? How would I think? How would I act if I was secure and confident? And make it familiar. Like I used to say, how do I get out of bed in the morning now I'm secure? How do I brush my teeth now I'm secure? How do I make a cup of tea now I'm secure? And really start to embody that version of you that is already secure. Because despite what common manifestation teachings tell you, you are not going to be able to affirm yourself out of an insecure attachment style because of the amount of trauma that it took to get you there in the first place. Because of the amount of beliefs that you have that you are fully identified with, you are not going to be able to keep affirming yourself into being secure. The aim here is to embody it, and that means that your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and behaviors align with that. And it's about making a conscious choice and conscious decision. So if it is that you are suspicious of your partner and you do frequently check the phone, ask yourself, how would the secure version of me handle this situation right now? Well, I wouldn't be checking his phone, I'd be giving him the benefit of the doubt. Or if I do truly believe that something untoward is going on, I'm going to open a dialogue and have a direct conversation about this calmly, where I can express my needs and express my feelings to this person in a secure way. And when you can continue doing those patterns, when you can continue expressing yourself and setting boundaries and showing up for yourself, you are automatically going to become secure. It is inevitable that you will become more and more and more secure. The more that you can commit to that, the more that you can commit to yourself to becoming that, you will do it. There is nothing that's going to stop you do it once you commit to it properly and really commit to it. So a big one for me, for example, was I was super sensitive to criticism. And if there was a perceived criticism, it would trigger what looked like an overreaction from me. But this was just a result of me being heavily criticized in childhood and being made to feel shameful and unworthy and not good enough. When I received perceived criticism, it would have that reaction, and then a conflict would ultimately ensue. So I had to really understand why I was so sensitive to criticism and why I didn't think I was good enough and why I felt shameful. Nothing to do with my partner at all. And I opened a dialogue about it. I said, I feel hurt when you say these things, and he just stopped doing it. Whereas before, I would try to either squash it down and invalidate my own feelings and gaslight myself, or I would blow up over it. By opening a dialogue and behaving as a secure person would, I broke that pattern and I broke the beliefs that went along with that pattern. And the next thing I want you to do, which is so important, is do a needs inventory. And I want you to really sit with what your authentic needs are. Say if you had a magic wand, what would you put on this list? And be really specific as well. Be really specific of how you like that need being met, and start doing little things for yourself. Start meeting those needs for yourself. Because as I said in the previous video, a lot of what's being reflected back to you is an indication of what you're lacking, an indication of what your missing needs are. So when you can actually start meeting those needs yourself, A, your self-confidence is going to skyrocket, and B, you're going to put a lot less pressure on your relationship because your partner is not responsible for meeting your needs. Yes, it's okay to ask for needs to be met, and great if they're willing to do that. But what we don't want is to outsource all of our needs 100% of the time, because that is going to set you up to fail, and it's going to make you feel like you're not worthy. It's going to make you feel like you're not good enough. But when you can at least meet your needs halfway, you're not going to feel so needy. You're not going to feel so desperate. So you're breaking those patterns that way with anxious attachment. So doing a needs inventory is going to give you a really good idea of who you are and what you need. Because once you can break that belief that only my partner can meet these needs, you're going to feel so much more empowered, and you're going to feel a lot less at the whim of somebody else, which makes you feel really powerless. And when you catch yourself in negative self-talk, change it. Stop yourself and change it, because all you are doing is you're depleting your own self-concept by doing this. And a secure person does not make circumstances mean something detrimental to them. They don't internalize it the same as insecure attached do. If something happens that's unwanted, try not to make it mean something detrimental to you. Try to not tell yourself stories, oh, if I hadn't have done that, this wouldn't have happened, because you are not responsible for somebody else's reactions. You're responsible for your own, but you're not responsible for somebody else's actions, somebody else's ego, somebody else's trauma. You have to have a good picture of where you end and where they start, because otherwise you're going to be moving more into codependency rather than interdependency. It's okay to empathize with somebody, and it's okay to support somebody through something that they're struggling with. But what we don't want to do is take on responsibility for how another person's thinking. And this is something that fearful avoidants tend to fall into, because fearful avoidants are really good empaths. But that is a trauma response. It's a trauma response from having to mold yourself depending on what the mood was in the room. And sometimes it's enough work dealing with your own emotions, let alone somebody else's. So really get a picture of what it would be like for you if you were secure and confident. How would you act? How would you behave? How would your day be different now that you're secure and confident? How would you think about a certain situation now that you're secure and confident? And that is how you're going to really embody that version of you that is already secure and confident. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you need any help at all, drop a comment below. I will do my best to answer it, but I will see you in the next video.